All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another Tea Time live stream. Let me know if you can hear me all right, if the sound and everything is good. Let's see. Here's my channel. Okay. So hello Jose, hello Mike. Where is... Okay, hold on just a second. Alright, hello Empire of Waterloo, hello Big Ocean Liners in History. Tyler, what's going on? Tyler says, I'll be so glad when you're live. I have had a very bad week. Oh, okay, well, hopefully this will make you feel better. Let's see. Carl, what's up? And Ken is here as well. I need to update my chat because... Jason, what's going on? Oh, good. My sound is good. That's good. Let's see. Empire of Waterloo says, good afternoon, Alex. I really like the ship backgrounds on the side of your screen. I can hear you all right. That's good. Thanks. The Fat Hat says, do you think the Queen Mary is smaller than some videos or descriptions make it out to be? I haven't seen any videos that describe the Queen Mary as small, but I've seen people who've commented on my channel saying the Queen Mary is small, and I don't agree with that. Looks can be deceiving. Okay, so I have a sandwich to make really quick, so I'm going to put that together. I'll be kind of off screen, but I'll be here. So just enjoy the music and the background. What I'm making today is, it's a simple kind of sandwich. You'll see. That thing. That thing. And this one. And it looks like it's time for me to start preheating the teapot. So I only pour out about half the water. There we go. And then cool. Okay, so I gotta finish making the sandwich. So what it is it's a fig jam sandwich with some white cheddar. Very simple. Something that goes really well with tea. A little bit of sweet and salty. And I use multi-grain bread to make it. That one and that one. I was hanging out with a friend on voice chat before the live stream, so I lost track of time and realized I was like, I have to start getting ready for this live stream. Let's see. Good. I found my spreading knife. So while the teapot and the cup start heating up from that boiling water, I'll just throw this sandwich together real quick. Let's see. I'm going to try to read some comments from the chat real quick while I do this. So let's see. Hello everybody. Hello Matthew. Hello Raul. Hello Ozzy. Mike, how's it going? Yeah, don't make a mess, Alex. Yeah, exactly. Good morning, Ivan. How's it going? Alright, so spread on there. Spread on here. So the weather is really good today. Yeah, it's a little bit on the cold side, which I like. You know, it's one of the things I love about living up here in the Pacific Northwest is the cold weather. So that's nice. Yeah, Empire of Waterloo. It's a new kind of sandwich. Alright. Almost done. Just gotta cut the sandwich now. Big Ocean Liners in History says, did you know that Aquitania was one of the last four-funneled ships? Yes, in fact, on my top 10s list, when I mentioned Aquitania, that's actually one of the facts I mentioned, was that it was the last four-funneled ocean liner to exist. Okay, so this is... There we go. This sandwich, though, because it's fig jam, is pretty sticky, so now I have to wash my hands. Alright, folks, now I am ready to resume the live stream. Okay. Here I am. Hope nobody missed me. Okay, so... 1 spoon for the sugar. Cream goes over here. I'm pretty sure that water is hot enough, or the tea kettle is hot enough. The Fat Hat says, although I'm sure you've covered it in your video explaining is the Queen Mary haunted, did you have any unexplainable occurrences on the ship? Nope. What you heard in that video was all of it. I didn't experience anything else. I'm really on the fence about what I think about Queen Mary's hauntings, but I think ultimately it can be summed up with the fact that I do believe to a certain extent she's haunted, but I don't believe she's as crazy haunted as the media will tell people she is. I think, because I mean, obviously I've discovered evidence that most of the information that's being told online about the Queen Mary is completely false. It's just made up stuff, a lot of it made up by Disney. So, you know, I do believe in some ghosts, but I believe that hauntings are really not that interesting. I believe that hauntings are really, at most, amount to being poked on the shoulder or something, or amounting to hearing like a voice or something, or feeling a presence in a room, or even seeing an apparition. But the kinds of like stories that they tell about the Queen Mary are just so out of this world. Like, you know, people getting strangled in the middle of the night and having to bash a ghost over the head with a light post. Like, it's just like ridiculous stories. Or, you know, even the story of Jackie. Jackie is not a real ghost. She was made up by Disney. And so when people say, oh, I've captured the voice of Jackie, it's like, how? She's made up. You might as well be saying that you know, captured the voice of Mickey Mouse in there, because it's not real, you know? So there's things like that, but there are some unexplainable occurrences, you know, just run-of-the-mill ghost story occurrences, and I believe a lot of those, because that's really what most ghost stories are anyway, so... just call you ocean liners. I will. Octarian says, if you could bring one ship back, which one would it be? I would bring back RMS Mauretania. Empire of Waterloo says, I want to make that sandwich now. It's really good. It's very simple. It's just white cheddar, and then you spread some fig jam on the bread, and it's kind of like a spin on the like casual snack that you might serve at like a dinner party. It's on, usually you have like these whole wheat crackers, and you spread fig jam, and you put some white cheddar cheese on it, and that's kind of like a little hors d'oeuvre or something. But it's kind of like that, except it's on bread. So it's just a little tea sandwich. 2 more minutes on that tea, just letting it brew. Matthew says, does security exist on Queen Mary to stop people from stealing or damaging things? So, yes, security does exist on Queen Mary, but unfortunately, over the course of history, security hasn't been good enough. They haven't been able to catch everybody who has stolen stuff. They haven't been able to stop people from going into places they're not supposed to go. So yes, security does exist, but no, I think they're incredibly understaffed, or have been at least, and haven't been able to do their job the way that they would like to. Ivan says, what is your favorite aspect of model railroading? Scenery, operations, or structures? My favorite aspect of model railroading is probably going to be operations. Yeah. You know, I could turn around and stare at this for a couple hours, you know. I don't get tired of seeing it. But I guess the next best thing would be creating scenery, because creating scenery is kind of a chance for me to kind of be creative and build stuff and make landscapes. I have plenty of scenery stuff in the drawers here for putting together scenery and all that kind of stuff. But the only thing about doing scenery is oftentimes you have to work step by step. You can't just skip straight to scenery. So like, as much as I would right now love to put together scenery on this layout, I can't yet. Other things need to be done before I do that. So that's the one thing about making scenery that kind of bothers me, is sometimes you just have to do it step by step, and sometimes you can't skip those steps. You have to do steps before it. So, yes. Let's see. Ocean Liners says, guess what my favorite ship is. I would see, normally I would use your profile image to guess, but I can't see because it's so small on my screen. But I'm gonna say, whoa, felt like there was like something crawling on my ear. I'm gonna say Queen Elizabeth. I don't know why. Maybe it's because on your profile image there's a blue picture in there somewhere, and that reminds me of a picture I have of Queen Elizabeth. But I can't tell what ocean liner that is from those pictures. Let's see. Linda says, hello Alex, how are you this afternoon? I am doing great. In 2 days, the Railroads Online game will be updated with some new track work. So I will try to, at some point afterwards, live stream me and my friends trying out the new tracks and building some new stuff because we already have an account that is fully mapped out and everything, but with the new updates that they're putting into the game, it kind of changes things up. So we'll see how it goes. That lid is really hot. Let's see. Restore the Queen says, well, RMS Queen Mary, of course. Taylor Lewis says, late to the stream, just curious, why dressed so fancy? Because it's afternoon tea, you know? If you're going to have afternoon tea, you got to try to dress nice. Crittenden says, Alex, did you get those pictures of Queen Mary in the gantry way? I also sent you all the Queen Elizabeth pictures, too. I don't recall seeing any pictures of Queen Mary in the gantry way or the Queen Elizabeth pictures. So, no, I'm going to say I didn't get that email. Yeah, I don't recall seeing that. Well, wait, ocean liners, you cheated. You said what was your favorite ocean liner, but now you're listing 4 of them. You're listing Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, Normandy, and United States. You have to choose one. What's your favorite one? Jeffrey says, hi, Alex. Are you familiar with the story of the sinking of USS Indianapolis? I'm a little bit familiar with it. But I know it was it Pearl Harbor, was it, I think? But I don't know for certain. But I do know it was a ship that sank due to being bombed, I think. The fat hat, I don't know what you're talking about. What, like a fishing boat in the movie Jaws? Taylor says, I've been here in a few streams and I haven't seen you dress this fancy before. Yeah, I've done it before, just not recently because we've had kind of warmer weather recently. And plus, I can't wear this every single day. Like, you know, that would... I don't like to dress in the same thing too often. So I always switch out the different, like, clothes I wear. But I have worn blazers for live streams in the past. So I only have 2 blazers. I have a black one and I have... Well, I technically have 3, but the third one I can't fit anymore. I've gotten too fat. But my third one is my favorite one, and I never get to wear it. It's a black velvet blazer. So that one's my favorite, but like I said, I don't fit it anymore. But yeah, so I have this gray one that I wear sometimes, and I have a black one, a regular black one that I wear sometimes for tea time. All right. So today, I didn't bring out the tin for the tea, but today is English breakfast tea. Crittenden, yeah, go ahead and send them again. See. Mike says that his favorite is Olympic. Awesome. Yeah, Olympic is a very respectable ship. It's been through, or it had been through so much. Old Reliable, as they called it. All right. I've been looking forward to tea all day. Saturn says, hey Alex, if you could own the Queen Mary, what would you do with it? Well, actually, I'm going to be making a video in the coming weeks that talks about my ideas for how to revamp the Queen Mary. I'm not just some random person with ideas. I do actually have an education in hotels and tourism, so I have some ideas that I know could really help the ship. So I'm going to make a video about them, but it's really a complex idea. So if I were to try to give you a brief explanation, I'm actually worried that a lot of people would take that explanation incorrectly because basically I would want to update its attractions to be more modern and to be more family friendly. That's as basic as I can put it. But you see, the thing is people are going to think I'm talking about something completely different. They're probably going to think that when I say that, I mean just I don't know, ruin the place. But I have to make a video to be more specific about it because people will take that the wrong way. They'll interpret those words in many different ways, and I have a very specific plan in mind. So I'm gonna have to make a video about that to explain it. Where is the... Oh, there we go. Empire says, my favorite ocean liner is the original Queen Mary, but the new Queen Mary is pretty cool too. I'd like to sail on that one. Yeah, I would as well. Let's see. Jeffrey says, it sank in the Philippine Sea. There's a really good podcast series I was listening to on it. They survived for days in the ocean facing shark attacks. Okay, I've heard of that one. Yeah, because when I was a kid, they had Shark Week on Discovery Channel, and they talked about the sinking of the Indianapolis and the men that were out there for, weeks among the sharks. And yeah. Let's see. Octarian says, hey, Alex, what do you think would happen if Cunard White Star stay in merger? Because let's say White Star owner knew that would happen when they... Ooh, I got so confused by that question. I don't know what you're asking. Yeah. If you could retype that differently, reword it, I might understand what you're asking, but I'm not sure what you're asking. Restore the Queen says, let's schedule an anniversary tea party for next Friday, May 27th to honor the Queen's maiden voyage of 86 years ago. We're in. Oh yeah, we should. Let's see, what day does that fall on? Oh, I forgot. I hate the calendar on my phone. Could someone tell me what day May 27th falls on? I think it's a Friday, but I don't know. But somebody let me know, because I would use my phone, but I hate the calendar on my phone. Whenever I look at it, I can't understand what I'm looking at. I don't know. This probably sounds so stupid, but I'm serious. The calendar on my phone, I don't understand what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it. It's so confusing to me. Let's see. Brocky says, what would happen if you changed the water in Queen Mary's propeller room from fresh water to salt water? It would eventually corrode the propeller over time. It wouldn't happen instantly. It would take several years, maybe even a decade, but nevertheless, it just wouldn't be a good idea. It's better to keep it in fresh water so that way it is preserved longer. Ozzy says, what is your weather today, Alex? It's 104 here in Mojave, Arizona. Here it is 58 degrees today, which is, believe it or not, a warm day for us here up north. So, but yeah, but it's cool enough that I was able to actually put on a blazer. I didn't want to... The past couple live streams, we've had like warmer weathers, kind of like in the 60s, but in the 60s I actually start to feel hot because of how cold it normally is here. So I didn't want to sweat into the blazer on those warm days. Thanks, Tyler. Crittenden said, just sent them again. I did not get an email. Are you sure you sent them to the right email? Because I didn't get an email from that. See you later, Tangent. Ivan says, what's your favorite type of stern? I personally prefer Olympic type to Queen Mary's. Olympic's stern is called a clipper stern. And I gotta do the sandwiches first. So Olympic's stern is called a clipper stern. But I prefer a cruiser stern, which is a lot like what the warships had. When I see a cruiser stern, it looks more powerful and it reminds me of a warship, honestly. But I don't like clipper sterns that much. I think a lot of people have laughed when I told them that when I look at it, it looks to me like a toilet that's just hanging off the end of a ship. So I don't like clipper sterns. Jose says, Alex, you made some videos about Titanic, but not about Olympic. I don't know a better influencer of the liner ships community to do it. Your work always is very... I don't know that word. Refine it? Well, okay. Essentially... I don't believe I'll be making any history videos on Olympic or Titanic. I mean, you might have noticed I haven't technically made a history video on Titanic at all. I've made videos comparing its size, comparing its decoration to, you know, Queen Mary, and even like comparing what would happen to Queen Mary if it struck Titanic's iceberg. But I haven't made any informative history videos about Titanic. I'm specifically avoiding the Olympic class and a few other different classes of ships. And when it comes to the Olympic class, the reason why I'm avoiding it is because everybody talks about it. Like, everybody. And everybody has their own idea of the history of those ships. They have their own idea of what they looked like, what everything was about them. They are so... they are talked about so much that I don't want to open that can of worms, because every time I say anything about Titanic or Olympic, it starts up a debate. Everybody wants to debate about what I just said, and it doesn't turn out to be very pleasant. It ends up becoming arguments. There's the ocean liner community, and then there's the Olympic class fans. And the Olympic class fans, they can be pretty intense, and some of them can be pretty harsh. And I don't want to get into that. I don't want to talk about the Olympic class ships. I don't want to talk about the history. And mainly that's because I wasn't born with the knowledge of ships. I've been having to research ships for the last 2 years straight, and I'm still learning about a lot of ships. And while I do know a lot of random little fun facts about the Olympic class ships, ultimately I don't know nearly as much as... Probably most of the people watching this live stream right now, you guys probably know way more about the Olympic class ships than I do. That's quite literally how little I know about them. And I would need to do years of research to catch up to most of the people that know about those ships. And even then, anything I say is going to be debated. I don't want to open that can of worms. I want to cover other ships that are still well known, but not talked about as often. I think I got some really good reactions with my top 10 ocean liners list, because I had people on there that were like, oh wow, no one's ever really listed Kron Prince Wilhelm, and no one really talks about, you know, SS France from 1910. So I want to talk about ships that people have heard of but don't know much about, you know, like, and Queen Mary was one of them. Queen Mary was a ship that everybody knows, everybody in the ocean liner community knows Queen Mary. But there was a lot of the history that they didn't know, and that was something I wanted to focus on. So I've always been like that. I'm one of those people that I like to fit in a space that no one else can fill, and that's just kind of like, that's just kind of what I do. Captain Foxy is here. What's up? Ocean Liner says, did you see my other comments? I did, but I didn't see anything to respond to. Yeah, I didn't see anything to respond to. Let's see. Ocean Liner says, why does your train squeak? So basically, the part that's squeaking is so there's, the engine has 3 different sets of wheels. So there's the 2 pilot wheels up front, there's the 4 driving wheels in the middle, and then there's the 4 trailing wheels in the back. So the trailing wheels in the back are what's squeaking, but the thing is that the trailing wheels, they're designed to pick up electricity from the track. And so they have what are called contacts. They're little like tabs that touch the axle. And as the axle rotates, the tabs constantly touch it. That is what I believe is creating the squeaking. However, these are a little bit different than what I just described. That was just a very simplified version of how they're made. Basically, it's like the axle like goes into like this pad at the end, and then like when it rotates, it just grinds into it and it squeaks. I'm afraid that if I tried to oil that or anything, it may ruin the locomotive's ability to make electrical contact with the rails. And I know someone else had suggested that I use electrically conductive oil, but the way that the wheels are designed, I'm afraid that what if I put that oil in there and I figure out that that's the wrong oil or something, or maybe it's too thick or something, it's having an adverse effect, I won't be able to clean it out, because that the way that it's designed, the particular way that the axle locks into the wheel hub, I'm afraid that I might not be able to clean it if I put something in there. So that's why it squeaks, is because I'm too afraid to fix the squeak due to the way that it's designed. So anything else on the train that was squeaking, I could easily fix the squeak. But that just happens to be like one thing that I don't even want to go anywhere near it, because this locomotive, they don't sell it anymore. They don't make it. So if I break this locomotive or something, it'll take years for me to get one again. Years. Because not many people have them. So, yeah. That's why it squeaks. Okay, Octarian says, what would happen if Cunard and White Star Line stayed in a merger? If it stayed in a merger, there really wouldn't be much of a difference, because Cunard owned the majority of the merge. So basically, once they merged, Cunard made all the decisions. They had all the power. So there would be no difference, honestly. The only difference that you would see is that the ships would still be flying the White Star flag. It would be a merged flag, so it would be the Cunard White Star flag. Yeah, there really isn't much of a difference, honestly. So Empire of Waterloo says it's a Friday. Okay. Yeah, so that would be the 86th anniversary of Queen Mary. Okay. So yeah, I will have to... So I think I was supposed to publish something that day. I'll figure it out. Either there's a video that's supposed to be published that day, or I'll do a special tea time on that day. Or both. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's also the day that the Obi-Wan Kenobi show comes out on Disney Plus, and I really wanted to binge that show. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hello, Rayanne. How's it doing? How's it doing? How's it going? I can't even speak today. What is wrong with me? Taylor says, which would you rather sail on, Lusitania or Mauretania? Also, I always struggle to spell Mauretania unless I look it up. Yeah, you know, I have the same problem with Mauretania because sometimes... Because you see, the province, the Roman province, was spelled with an I instead of an E. And but the ship was spelled with an E instead of an I, and I always mix them up. But yeah, I would say Mauretania is the one that I would choose to sail on. It's my more favorite of the two. Oceanliner says, I'm here in Washington State. It is windy. Oh, wow. We got calm weather out here in Portland. Oceanliner says, why are clipper sterns called clipper sterns? Because they came from the clipper ships. So if you look up a clipper sailing ship, you'll see what I mean. Matthew says, I always thought Queen Mary's stern looked like a toilet. Really? Because I think that Titanic's looks more like one, at least an American toilet. Due to the fact that it's got that overhang that comes out. The Fat Hat says, will you ever make a video on MTS Oceanos? Maybe. I can't say yes or no. Oceanliner says, I would say harsh, I would say aggressive. About what? Okay, Crittenden says, sent them for sure now. Come on, where's the... yes, I got it finally. I'll take a look at it after the live stream. Matthew says, will you ever visit the SS Rotterdam in Rotterdam? Maybe one day, but it's not on my to-do list yet. I mean, I've never even left this country, so I've never even been out of the country, so I really don't travel that often. I don't have a lot of money, like, honestly, like, like, I eat, like, rice for dinner sometimes. I'm very poor. Linda says, before watching your live streams and videos, I didn't know Cunard still made ships. Not interested in the monster cruise ships, but would love the Queen Mary 2. Oh, yeah. The Queen Mary 2 is very beautiful, especially on the inside. And hopefully one day I'll be able to sail aboard. That'd be so nice. Evan Scott says, boiler room's off limits now when the Queen Mary opens. I don't know. I will have to do some research. I doubt it'll be off limits due to the fact that it's the most popular attraction on the entire ship. I feel like they would give priority to making sure that that reopens. So I'll have to do some research. See you later, Ken. Ozzy says, is there a clipper ship named Enterprise? I don't know. I know that there was a sailing ship named Enterprise, but I don't know if it was a clipper. Transatlantic says, but how did Clippers get their stern design? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Oh, about the Olympic class fans. Octarian, I don't know. Yeah, that's highly speculative. I'm really not sure. Oceanliner says, do you know the story of the RMS Empress of Ireland? I have... If not, I have a vid about it. I know the Empress of Ireland. RailFan says, hey Alex, I just popped in here. Nice suit. Thank you. Transatlantic Scottish lines. Well, really, I'm learning about ocean liners. So sailing ships is certainly not on my list of things that I know about. So your question about where did Clippers get their stern design, I couldn't tell you because I've never researched it. Like, I don't know anything about sailing ships. And in the moment, I'm researching ocean liners. And that's funny, too, because some people are asking me about, like, different warships, and I'm like, I don't know about warships. I don't research them. Octarian says, well, what would they do with the wreck if it washed up ashore? I think that, so I really don't know. I think mainly what would happen is there would be a huge debate that would last several years. I think what would happen is they would pull the wreck out of the like off the beach, and then they'd probably put it in like a storage warehouse or something until they could figure out legally what can be done with it, because the whole world would erupt in an argument over what to do with it. And the reason why is because well, because of what's happening right now. The ship is considered a gravesite. So there would be people arguing to put it back, and there would be people who argue to put it in museums, and there would be people arguing to put it in like sell off the pieces. So I don't think anything would get done with it for several years, and I don't know who would win the argument. I really don't know. It's extremely speculative. Emma, how's it going? Your setup is incredible. Thanks. Do you mean the trains or the or the snacks? Titanic Gaming says, what's your favorite sport? I don't have a favorite sport. I don't like sports. I'm not a very competitive person. So sports have never made sense to me because I don't have a competitive bone in my body. Like, honestly, I don't have that competitive nature where I feel the need to win. So that's why I'm never good at sports. I don't understand it. Because I don't have that competitive nature. Tyler, thank you so much. But yeah, I don't want to discuss the Olympic class on my channel. It's like I said, it's like I've always been the kind of person who I find a place that no one else can fill, and then I go for that, because I like to be different. I like to talk about things and stuff that nobody else really does. So the Olympic class is a highly, highly covered topic. Like, when you look up ocean liners, the most covered topic is something about the Olympic class. So I don't want to do that. You know, I want to do something different. So, you know, there's already tons of great people who can supply information about the Olympic class. You know, like Titanic Honor and Glory and Titanic University are two really great channels. And then you have Historic Travels. He talks about Titanic in, you know, all of the different aspects that most people don't even cover. So he's already got that covered. You know, like there's just a lot of really great channels out there. Like even Ocean Liner Designs, he talks about Titanic quite often. So, you know, there's all these people that do a really good job. Nobody needs me to cover Olympic class ships, honestly. There's nothing I could add to that conversation. If anything, I would need to learn from that conversation. So I couldn't add anything to it. It would be like, you know, like asking me to explain rocket science to somebody. Like I'm not the person for that, you know. Yeah, but Octarian, it's already breaking apart anyway. So if you put it back, it'll, you know, won't be any different. It's not like it's being preserved, you know, like it's being eaten by rusticles and it's slowly collapsing to the sea floor, which is why part of my argument is to bring parts of it up to the surface, not the whole thing. Some people say, well, bring it up to the surface. No, that's impossible. I'm like, not the whole thing, just parts of it. But, it's eventually going to disappear, so part of my argument is to bring parts of it up to the surface, more of it, you know. But yeah, it's being destroyed anyway by nature, so so even if you put the wreck back where it was, won't make a difference. RailFan says, have you heard of Stormworks? No, I can't say I have. Oh, Emma says everything. Oh, thank you so much. Shibert says, hello again, Alex. Are you familiar with the Morro Castle ship? I've heard of that name. Someone has tried to suggest I make a video about that ship. I don't remember which one it is, because honestly I've been told so many ships, but I don't think that was one of the ships on my list to talk about on my channel. Oh. Oh, thank you so much, Titanic Gaming. See you later, Element. Mr. Misty says, Titanic is the gateway ocean liner. That's true, it is the gateway ocean liner. I wish more people talked about Queen Mary the way that they talk about Titanic. You know, like, Titanic is a ship that we no longer have, but Queen Mary is a ship that we still have. I wished it got the same attention, the same love that Titanic gets. Because I almost feel like, well, Queen Mary's earned it, you know? So, that's my goal in life. My goal in life is to get more people to talk about the Queen Mary. Oh, it's a sinking game. Oh. Octarian says, what are the chances of Titanic 2 being built? I would say the same chances of me winning the lottery. Not much. Yeah. Queen Mary does have more history to her than Titanic. Yeah, rail fan. A lot of people, they mistake Queen Mary for Titanic. I don't see how. I mean, people have described it to me. They said, oh, well, it's got, it's got funnels and it's got, a pointy bow and, like, but I'm like, but how do you not notice that Titanic has 4 funnels, Queen Mary has 3? Titanic is short and Queen Mary is tall and, Titanic isn't very long, but Queen Mary is very, very long. And when I look at Queen Mary and Titanic, I don't see any similarities at all. Like, none. So when people tell me, like, oh, that's the Titanic, and I'm like, no, that's the Queen Mary. I don't know. Even when I was a child, I knew the difference between Titanic and Queen Mary. Because when I was a little kid, I was like 10 years old, I was being driven over to I was going to say Titanic, over to Queen Mary, and I wanted to know what it was. I asked my dad, like, what is it? And he's like, it's like the Titanic. And I looked at it and I'm like, it doesn't look like the Titanic. Like, I knew as a 10-year-old it didn't look like the Titanic. So when I got like 30-year-old people telling me like, oh, well, it looks like Titanic, I'm kind of like, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But then again, I've seen people, like, they look at an old steamship with a single funnel and they go, oh, it looks like Titanic. So I've seen people say that, and so I guess there really is no reason behind the madness, RailFan says, then I brought up the Queen Mary, and then they said, oh, that ship that is haunted. Yeah, unfortunately, like, I remember, like I said, I've been to Queen Mary a few times in my life, not very much. I think in total I've been to Queen Mary 4 times in my life. But the 4th time was when I became really interested in the Queen Mary, and I wanted to learn so much, but always there was a wall of haunted ghosts and, haunted ship. And I would have to break through that wall to learn some history about the ship. I mean, it was funny because there were things mentioned on the haunt tour that I took the haunt tour because I knew that there would be some history in there. But that's the funny thing is, like, you shouldn't have to take a haunt tour to learn some history. Like a haunt tour, the whole purpose of that haunt tour was to be scary and tell you about the ghost stories. But in there were little nuggets of truth. It shouldn't be that difficult to learn some history. So it's unfortunate because everybody knows Queen Mary as being the world's most haunted ship, but it's such an undignified title. Like the Queen Mary has done so much in its life to help our different countries and to bring everyone closer together. And, there's just so many heroic tales behind the ship, and yet its legacy is the most haunted ship in the world. It's so sad. It's so sad, See you later, RailFan. Dragon Dude says, does it bother you when people call ocean liners cruise ships? Yes, it does. However, I don't react as negatively as most people would. I've seen people on YouTube use the term cruise ships to describe an ocean liner, and everybody goes after them with their pitchforks and their torches. But the thing is I always try to remember that there was a time when I didn't know a difference either. So I try to remember that, let's turn this into a teaching experience as opposed to an experience to burn them at the stake. So when I hear people say cruise ship, I always go, oh, well, this is an ocean liner. And I try to tell them a little bit of the differences. but there was one person who I was like, oh, but this is an ocean liner, and here's the differences, and he was just like, so it's a cruise ship, and I'm like, oh my god, like he did not want to have it. He was like, it's a cruise ship, and I'm like, no, it's not, like, so some people, but those are just trolls. Those are just people who want to make you upset, you know. Scottish Line says, I've seen a schooner from 1891. It's a historical vessel in San Francisco, I think. I've seen a few sailing ships in San Francisco. I haven't walked up to them and learned about them, but oh. Yeah, everybody knows what Symphony of the Sea, what Symphony of the Seas is, but if you ask them about Queen Mary, oh well, it's Titanic. Yeah. Tyler says, I'm curious, why were the children not allowed in Queen Mary's pools? So for one thing, it has to do with appropriateness and decency. So there's a little bit of decency social rules back then where, you know, like, because people went to pools, they were not, you know, dressed, you know, decently. So, well, not, I mean, by our standards, they were overdressed, but back then that was still considered underdressed. So that was part of it, but also those pools weren't safe for children because the ships rolled, and so the pools were always moving, and not sloshing, but just moving. And that movement generates a force that makes you go to the center of the pool, and children can drown that way. So there was you had to have a certain height requirement to be allowed into the pool area. And so that's essentially why. But yeah, it's a little bit of, you know, so the pool areas were really more for the older folks, not like older as in old people, but older teenagers to young adults through to elderly, you know. It was for older generations. And in that way, they could enjoy their time away from children. So that was also part of it, you know. So, yeah, that's pretty much why. Dragon Dude says, did you get the Lego Titanic? No. I do not want to own Legos. Ryan says, you skipped mine. The Queen Mary certainly needs more exposure, especially since she is what we have left of the old world before airliners dominated every aspect of transport. Yep. Mike says squeaky. Yep, it's squeaky. It is rather annoying that it's so squeaky. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll swap it out real quick. Okay, let's see. So we disconnect the cars. And we'll reverse this. One. That's weird. I don't remember swapping that switch track. There we go. No more squeaky. Alright, I gotta start eating some of these treats here. See you later, the fat hat. Yeah, a lot of people think Olympic and Britannic are Titanic. SS Titan says, did Hitler offer money to sink the Aquitania like the Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth? No, they weren't on a bounty, but they were under orders to sink it, of course. But Dragon Dude says, what brand of track do you use? This is all micro engineering. Yeah. All the track is micro engineering. Gregory says, hi Alex, we shared interests, the great liners and all great trains. I collect railway china and silverware. Awesome. Yeah, Tyler, you're exactly right. If Jackie did exist and she did drown, Cunard would have been sued. There would have been records of all of that. You know, first of all, Cunard was really good at keeping records of who died on their ships. There's no record of anyone ever drowning in the pools, let alone a small child. And then the fact that, you know, like you said, people would sue, it would be in the news. There's no record of her ever existing. So it's not real, you know, but even besides that, you know, like a former I don't want to say Imagineer, but someone who worked for Disney that helped design the Halloween aspects, or the haunted aspects, I should say, of Queen Mary in 1989, admitted that that was his story, that Jackie was his story. And what's hilarious is it was sold in a book on the ship. The book on the ship was about like deciphering what stories were true, what stories weren't. And it's funny because there was this one YouTuber who was staying in room B340, and she thought she'd buy like a book that talked about the ghost stories, because she thought it'd make her videos like, you know, extra interesting. And she's one of the many different YouTubers that really try to sell the fact that Queen Mary's haunted, because that's what gets the clicks, right? So, but as she's reading from this book, it literally says, you know, as quoted from one of the employees, I don't know what they're called. They're not Imagineers, they're not managers, they're not project workers, they're just like developers who came up with the stories for Queen Mary's hauntings, said that their story about Jackie was completely a falsified story. And the person was like reading this on YouTube, and she immediately cut the camera because she didn't want people to realize that it was fake, you know, because then that totally destroys her whole video. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. Crittenden, why are you digging a hole? Dragon Dudes, no, the problem with using easy assembly track like Bachmann Easy Track or Kato Unitrack is that they don't look realistic when you're building a layout. So that easy to assemble track is okay if you're just setting up trains on your carpet or something, or your floors or whatever. It's good for that. But when you're building a train layout and you want it to look realistic, you can't use that plastic stuff because it will pop out as fake when you work with it. So instead, when people build layouts, they buy the track that is properly scaled, properly accurate. And then they put it down, you glue it all down, and then you put the rock ballast yourself. So instead of having a plastic fake rock ballast, you apply the rocks yourself with actual, like, sand. So it's all about realism. So that's what I do. Yep. It's a powerful little engine. I don't know if you noticed, this little Porter engine is so strong. That's one of the things I loved about switching to this scale, was that the engines are so big that they're actually strong. Hello, C-Quad. I'm doing good. I haven't heard about a crewman who died in a fire on the Queen Mary. There's some weird... So one of the haunted stories about Queen Mary is that there was a baker or something, some kitchen chef or whatever, who used to yell at his staff, and one day they threw him into the walk-in oven, because the ship had walk-in ovens. They threw him into the walk-in ovens and killed him, because they baked him alive, essentially. I was like, that is the fakest story I've ever heard. I was like, come on, dude. Like, who would believe that? Like, yes, I worked for Bodine Bakery. They have walk-in ovens. I've been inside a walk-in oven. It is one of those things where you're actually a little bit afraid, because if someone decides to play a prank and shut the door on you and turn the oven on, you know, it could maybe lead to an accident. But you know, I don't believe that story about Queen Mary. First of all, I haven't found any records of someone who was murdered aboard the Queen Mary. The other thing, too, is you have to think, like, if they threw the chef into the oven, that ship would... Nobody would leave the ship when it came to its port. Everybody would be a suspect until they found the, you know, the perpetrators. It's just silly, you know? Like, you don't commit a major murder on a crowded ship like that, especially when you're the crew. There have been murders committed on ships, but quite usually what it is the person is pushed over a balcony railing and out onto the open ocean. That's usually what most of the murders are on cruise ships and stuff. Or like someone getting food poisoned, but not someone being thrown into an oven. Like, it just... silliness. Just complete silliness. Tangent says, please read my texts. Okay. I built the RMS Majestic in Minecraft. Pretty cool. SS Titan says, is there any ghost story about someone who actually died on the ship? There are, but I'm struggling to find one. Well, there was a person who died on the third-class staircase, and some people will swear to you that that's a fake story. It's not a fake story. There is record of someone attaining major head trauma and dying from head trauma over by the third-class staircase. So, yeah. So, people say when they go up that staircase, they can feel people, like someone tapping on their shoulder, or like trying to hold their shoulder or something like that. Just like little stories like that. Nothing big, nothing like, you know, nothing groundbreaking, just little like taps and touching and stuff. So that is technically a ghost story based off of reality. There was a person that died there. I have it on good authority that 2 different third-class passengers died on that staircase over time, but I can only confirm that one did. Tangent says, that's fake as fudge. Someone did die there, but it's up to you to say whether or not you believe in ghosts. But I can tell you that someone did die there. It is a real thing. But yeah, you know, ghosts, you know, I don't mind. If some people don't believe ghosts, that's fine. I don't, you know. But yeah, someone did die there. That's for sure. That part's not fake. Let's see. Mr. Misty says the story went that an engineering space was on fire, and the only way to put it out was to seal the room, but that could only be done from inside the room, and he sacrificed himself to save the ship. Wait, isn't that a scene from the Poseidon Adventure? I've only seen the movie once, but I could swear that's a scene from the Poseidon Adventure. That a room was on fire, and the only way to put out the fire was to seal the room with the person inside who sacrificed themselves to put out the fire. I could swear that's a scene from the Poseidon Adventure. The Dragon Dude says, how did the Queen Mary's pool work? Did it have dedicated plumbing? Oh yeah, all pools have dedicated plumbing. Basically, what it was like, the Queen Mary's pool, if we say that the bottom of this table surface here is the keel of the ship, the pool actually sits way up here above the boiler rooms. It's technically it's right over the forward turbo generator room. And what happens is, you have pumping systems and filtration systems for the pool. The seawater comes into the water softening plant at the bow of the ship, or towards the bow of the ship. The seawater gets a basic filtering to, you know, remove aquatic life and prevent the seawater from being too harsh, you know, so you don't get sick. But then from there, it is pumped up into the pool. And the pool was a saltwater pool. And after the first class passengers or the third class passengers would use it, because it was used by both, but just they switched places. But let's say the third class passengers were done using it and it was time to clean it out. The whole thing would drain down into the water softening plant, which would filter through it again. And then it would be pumped back up into the pool. So that's how it worked. And if the seas were really rough, the pool could slosh about. And when the pool sloshes, that could make the rolling of the ship even worse. So what they did during heavy seas was they actually completely just drained the pool. And it drained into some of the storage tanks over by the water softening plant. So the ship had storage tanks for its swimming pool. And the seawater could be filtered to be used for the pools and showers and stuff like that around the ship. Most of the ship gave the passengers the option to use either fresh or salt water. So, see you later, Mike. Sequad, that catwalk has always been there. It wasn't added for, you know, the conversion. It was there even when the Queen Mary was in operation as an ocean liner. Let's see. Let's see. Ryan Jeffson says it would be very hard murder to commit anyway, as the chef would know better than to go into the wok-in oven for no reason. Well, they said that they pushed him in, but that it's just a fake story, you know. Yeah, they said that it was a group. It was his whole staff. They said it was his whole staff because he was yelling at them and they were all angry. But yeah, it's fake. Yeah. Martin Morris says, I have a question. Did Queen Mary suffer any collision during her active career? Yeah, I mean, you know, when she was in war, she ran into the HMS Curacoa. So, yeah, she did have a collision. But off the top of my head, I don't recall any other collisions. Sequad says, yeah, that's a scene from the Poseidon Adventure. The part is called Take Me. I had a feeling about that. I was like, that seems like a scene from the Poseidon Adventure. Let's see. Dragon Dude says, is anything left from Queen Mary's other pool, the second class pool? No. There's nothing left of Queen Mary's second class pool. Yeah, Mr. Misty. I would have to see the TV special because I don't recall that ever happening on the ship. Tangen, what about the Queen Elizabeth one? What about it? Sometimes, folks, it's hard for me to know what subject you're talking about because there is a delay. So sometimes I'll be talking about something, but you guys are still talking about a different subject that I was just on, and I'll forget what it is. So if you ask me questions and stuff, try to put a little bit of context in there so that way I know what you're specifically asking about. Otherwise, I have to guess, and sometimes I'm usually wrong. Well, Octarian, I don't read every text that people... Like, I don't read it out loud. I read things that I think I can comment on. So I don't literally read out loud everything everybody says, because that would take a long time. But I do read a lot of stuff. But the last thing you wrote, you deleted it, so I don't know what you said. Tangent says, what are they going to do with her in Hong Kong? The Queen Elizabeth I was scrapped a long time ago. There's nothing of her left. She was completely scrapped in 1972. The Japanese Navy came in and took every piece of her out because her wreck was sitting right in the middle of the harbor where all the big ships needed to go. So she was actually a danger being right there in the middle of the harbor. So they completely scrapped her all the way down to the keel. She's gone. Dragon Dude says, why does the Wikipedia page for Queen Mary mention the fake forward gear room as a real story? What story? Like, what specifically? Yeah, Tyler, I'll have to research that because I haven't heard of that yet. Yeah, I know I have a troll. Some people, they just, they just don't have enough to do in their life, I guess. They just feel like they have to start up arguments or something. If you folks want to have a debate and try to teach me something new, I'm open for learning something new. I'm honestly open. I don't know everything. I don't know everything about Queen Mary. If you have information and you can prove that it's true, then I will research it. I will confirm it for myself. I am always open to learning something new. In culinary school, we had this thing. You had to be able to take criticism. The chefs were harsh. If you delivered them food that wasn't good, they didn't go, "Oh, Alex, that wasn't so good." The chef would come up to me and say, "Alex, you just served me a piece of, she'd be like, "Get it out of my sight." You have to be able to take criticism in culinary school. And we had to take notes on whatever the chef said because that was part of how we got graded. So we'd have reports to do at the end of every single week. At the end of every single week, we had to be able to turn in these reports. And it had to detail everything the chef said. You had to keep with you a notepad and paper to write everything down as the chef said it. So if the chef used a bad word to describe your food, you had to write that down and you had to analyze what they say and figure out why it was. So if the chef said, "Alex, this is a piece of crap and you serve this to me," I'd have to go back and figure out what I did wrong. So there was no way that you could just sit there and pout and be upset because the chef made you feel bad. That's not how it works in the kitchen. You just have to accept that what they said is harsh, and then you have to figure out how to fix it. So I'm the same way when it comes to learning history. That's why I don't understand the trolls. The trolls, they want to be upset, they want to get angry because they feel like I'm lying or they feel like I'm telling untrue things. Okay, I might be wrong on certain things. Please prove me wrong. Show me the proof. But the thing is, a lot of these trolls, they can't show you proof. They don't have it. They just feel deep within their hearts that the things I say is incorrect, but they don't have proof. So, but if you have something, you catch me wrong on something, please show me the place where you learned that. Because it might be something I haven't read, and I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to keep things correct. So, that's just the thing, is like, I will accept criticism if you can be constructive about it, if you can show me, and you can teach me something new. I'm open for learning. So, yeah, well, I did delete that message from this sucking person. I deleted it because it's just rude. If you want to teach me something. I'll learn it. But you have to be able to prove that it's true, that what you're saying is true. So, that's all. But, yeah. Big Ocean Liners in History says, "Did you also know that the QE2 was almost scrapped?" I know that for every ship that is, what's the word? Retired. For every ship that's retired, there's always a chance they could get scrapped. And that's because usually they get auctioned off. And most of the people that purchase from those auctions are scrap yards. So yeah, I estimated that, yeah, QE2 probably faced being scrapped, but so does every ship. Every ship faces being scrapped, and the only question is if they will be saved, you know. So yeah. Ocean Liner says, why don't people talk back to Gordon Ramsay? They do. I've seen them do it. He doesn't get happy about it, though. That's for sure. Crittenden says, I don't know of this, but I heard Queen Elizabeth went to Florida to become a hotel, but failed. Yeah, she went to Fort Lauderdale. She was converted to a hotel. The conversion wasn't as intense as it was for Queen Mary. They still kept a lot of Queen Elizabeth's original interiors. But, yeah, she was converted to a hotel. She didn't do very well. She did get some business when she first opened, but it just quickly tapered off. And then finally, Mr. C.Y. Tongue had purchased the Queen Elizabeth to be used as a sailing university, which would have been a nice end for her, I think, because she would have kept most of her original interiors. She just would have had a different paint scheme on the outside and been named CY's University. But other than that, she would have still been mostly original on the inside and sailed to really remote locations for the students to learn about nature. Oh, Dragon Dude says about the bathrooms. Yeah. Yeah, no, that story, Dragon Dudes, isn't real. They always knew that room was there. They used it as storage. It was active storage space. So it was never forgotten. It was never lost. What was happening was the operators of the ship, they wanted to bring something new. They wanted to give people a new reason to come to the Queen Mary. So they fashioned this story that they discovered a new room on the ship. And I think that at the time they wanted to plan to refurbish that space to make it part of their tours. But they ran out of money. They never had the chance to do it. But yeah, they knew that room was there. And it had full access. They had full access to it. But it was just marketing. It was just marketing that they were just trying to make it seem like they just recently discovered it or something. So, hey Tiffany, what's up? Yep. Martin, the QE appeared in the James Bond movie. Yeah, well, and the thing about Wikipedia is that, see, Wikipedia isn't all evil. You know, a lot of people like to demonize it, and they go, oh, well, it's always inaccurate. And that's true, there's a lot of inaccuracies, but Wikipedia does provide something really good, which is that sometimes there's no information in a centralized place to learn about something. So sometimes Wikipedia can actually be a great way to learn about something that you otherwise can't find anything on. But yes, that is one of its flaws, is that sometimes untrue stories are retold on Wikipedia. So that's one of them, is about that engineering space that, you know, yeah. So as to why it's on there, well, I don't know, but it's on there. Tyler says, in all the books I read on Queen Elizabeth, including sabotage, how was the sabotage theory disproved? I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Thomas says, I've been listening and have been baking an apple pie for my friends. Oh, nice. Oh, apple pie is so good. C-Quad says, what's the oldest part in the Queen Mary? The keel is the oldest part on the Queen Mary. It was laid down first. So the keel is about approaching 92 years old. Let's see. Tiffany says, thanks for all you do, Alex. You're welcome. CNB says, hi, is anything exciting going on? Exciting? Not really. We're just kind of hanging out and chatting and stuff. Yeah, C-Quad is talking about the movie Assault on a Queen. I haven't seen it yet, but it is a movie that is in my lineup to watch. Dragon Dudes, yeah. Ask it, but I can't guarantee I'll know the answer. See you later, Ocean Liners. Crittenden said, when is the next Lost Places on Queen Mary? I don't know yet. Steve is on a vacation, so I have to wait till he comes back. Did I miss your question, Carl? Yeah, Carl, to answer your question, it's the same on Queen Mary 2. And if anything, it might even be more strict on Queen Mary 2, but yeah. Cunard as a whole, they try to maintain their classic experience, and so part of that is having a strict dress code. Tiffany says, my senior year winter formal was in the first class ballroom. In the outer room, it was slots and gambling, and in the ballroom was dancing and dining. On the original Queen Mary? Slots and gambling. They must have brought in the slot machines. The ship doesn't have any. That's interesting. Dragon Dude says, does the River Country closing theme still play in the abandoned park? And do the lights and plumbing still work? River Country was demolished. Yeah, it was demolished several years ago because they're building they were building a new hotel there. They canceled it when COVID happened, but yeah, they were building a new hotel there called Disney's Lodge Village Resort or something like that. So yeah, it's been demolished. Oh, gambling tables. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Wow, it's already 5:35. Time just passes so quickly when I do these live streams. Oh, before that. So before that, no. Everything was shut off. Like, I think there might have been one or two safety lights, because I think I've seen a video of that, but no, the music didn't play, the plumbing didn't work, everything was like abandoned, like officially abandoned and shut off. But I do believe there was one or two lights that were still on. I don't know why. I think just for safety reasons, but that's about it. Crittenden, the answer to your question is that I don't know yet, because Steve is off on vacation, so I have to wait till he comes back and see what his schedule is like. It might be this Saturday, it might be next Saturday, I'm not really sure yet. Tiffany says, the two ships I'm obsessed with is Titanic and Queen Mary. I'd love to stay on board one day. You know, I want to as well. I'm hoping that when the ship's hotel portion is reopened, that I'll be able to stay there for a few nights, because I've been to the Queen Mary a few times in my life, but I've never stayed aboard as a hotel guest, and I would love to, you know. I really want to be immersed in that experience. So, you know, I'm hoping, have my fingers crossed, you know. Well, good, Tyler. I'm glad. That's what I try to do on these tea times, is just try to talk about fun things and make people feel better. Carl says, this Queen Mary 2 got a class of boarding, like first, second, and third. In a way, yeah. So they still have a class system, but it's, and I'm still new to this, so forgive me for any discrepancies in the information, but I believe Queen's Grill is the top tier, Princess is the middle tier, and Britannia is the third tier. So if you're Britannia, you're basically like third class. And if you're first class, you're Queen's Grill. So, yeah, I think that's how it is on Queen Mary 2. So there is a classism, though. So, but it's not much. Like, there's like if you're in the Queen's Grill, the only thing you're really getting extra out of the ship itself, like out of the whole like space on the ship, is you get access to like a lounge or something. And then there's a restaurant that you can dine at that no one else can dine at. So you get like a lounge and you get like an extra restaurant. That to me is not a big deal. I'd rather be part of Britannia class, and you know, you still get like 90% of the rest of the ship that passengers get to see. So it's really not that bad. I think there are some people who've reviewed Cunard's classism, and they just go, "Oh, this is terrible," but it's really not that bad. You're not missing out on anything. Like, you still get plenty of restaurants and places to explore, you know, even when you're at the lowest tier. So it's not that bad. Plus, as weird as it may sound, having that classism is kind of like a nod to the past, but in a way that isn't insulting to the poor people. Because, you know, like, I'm not a rich person, but so I would most likely have to be Britannia no matter what. I could not afford Princess or Queen's Grill. But nevertheless, like, it's a type of classism on Cunard that I don't find insulting. You know, like, it's like, so you get an extra lounge, you get an extra restaurant. You know, whoop-de-doo, you know, like, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, if it was different, if it was like the olden days where, like, all the good stuff was held for first class, then yeah, I'd have a problem with it. I'd be like, well, great, I booked this expensive trip on the ship and I can't see anything amazing. Like, you know, but it's not like that. It's I think they did it very well, you know. Let's see. Oh, nice. You got to wear a Victorian dress. That's pretty cool. See, Quad says, I know some of the Queen Mary Dark Harbor maze music. Is it fine if I tell you? Yeah, I is there lyrics? Are you going to sing it to me or something? Mr. Misty says, wasn't it Discovery Island where the power was still on in most of the buildings? I don't know. I'm not that much of a Walt Disney World expert. Disneyland is my thing. I know Disneyland inside and out. I could answer your question, but Walt Disney World is more difficult. Yeah, well, the refurbishment work will probably continue for years to come. Like, it might take 10 years to fully complete all of it. So I'm not going to wait that long. I'm going to wait as soon as the hotel portion of the ship reopens. I'm going to go straight there, even if there's hammers, you know, going on outside my room all night. Slotwood. Pedro says, I love your videos. Was the Queen Mary's interior... Wait, whoa. The whole thing just moved all of a sudden. I love your videos. Was the Queen Elizabeth made of a lot of wood? I think that's a lot of wood, like the Queen Mary. Yes, Queen Elizabeth had a lot of wooden interiors, but not as much as Queen Mary. I think that Queen Elizabeth tried to incorporate more different types of materials besides wood. So Queen Mary had a lot more wood, but still, Queen Elizabeth still had a lot of it. So Tyler, the reason why Britannia is considered the third class is because while it is the biggest restaurant on Queen Mary 2, the reason why is because the Princess Grill and the Queen's Grill, which actually I think on other Cunard ships there's a Queen's Grill and a Princess Grill restaurant. But I think on Queen Mary 2 they combined the two into just Princess Grill, I think. But as far as I know, the Princess Grill restaurant is a lot fancier than the Britannia. So even though the Britannia is bigger, it's only bigger to accommodate more passengers. But the Princess Grill restaurant is supposedly a lot fancier than the Britannia restaurant. Did you see the video of... Wait, hold on. Hold on. All the comments are shifting. The 8419 says, again, I'd like to buy you a Mercedes. What model would you prefer? No cars for me, thanks. Tiffany says, Disneyland is more my thing, too. I know it inside out as well. And the hotel. Yeah. Carl says, did you see the video of Queen Mary 2 captain standing on the bubble hall for a picture? I don't know what the bubble hall is. Martin, I believe that is an original Queen Mary propeller, because 3 of her 4 propellers were removed from the ship and put on display all over, you know, all over the Long Beach area, basically. Dragon Dude says, is O gauge actually 2 times HO gauge? I don't know. I have the Adventure Train set, and I want to know if it's compatible with O gauge. So yes, O gauge is 2 times the size of HO. But it's important not to call it O gauge, because gauge is the measurement between the rails, but scale is a whole different thing. So sometimes you can have... So this is a good example. This is an O scale layout, but it's running on HO gauge rails. So yeah, so that's why there's a difference between gauge and scale. But yes, essentially the scale of the rails for O scale is twice the size of the rails for HO scale. Yeah. Crittenden says, Alex, you know Disney World has its own government system, the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Yes, I do, and it's been dissolved, actually, so it's gone now. Yeah, Thomas, I agree. I think the the look of the natural woods looks far more luxurious to me than some like weird white walls in cruise ships. I just, yeah. Oh, okay, C-Quad. LMG says, pretty sure Carl meant the bulbous bow. Oh, okay. Yeah, lots of the captains, they stand on the bulbous bow for a photograph. So Tiffany asks, why were 3 of her propellers taken off and displayed at other places? So I think it was more for, it was kind of like preservation. I say kind of because they knew that if they left the propellers on the ship, they would eventually rot in the seawater. The 4th propeller is surrounded in an enclosed box that's filled with fresh water, so it doesn't get corroded from the seawater. But the other 3 would have, and I think instead of scrapping the other 3, they just gave them away. It was a method of preservation, so in essence, they weren't left to rot, but they weren't left to scrap. They were just given away. And so one of them still sits near the entrance to the cruise terminal parking structure right next to the Queen Mary. So when you go to the Queen Mary and you get off the freeway, there's a main entrance to that parking structure, and there's like a flower bed and everything, and one of the 4 propellers is there in the flower bed. There's another propeller, I think, across the harbor at the beach, but it's mostly covered with sand, so most people don't even know it's there. And I think that 3rd one, yeah, is in front of that building. So, yeah. But if they had stayed on the ship, the salt water from the ocean would have eventually corroded them pretty badly. So, I mean, it's not a ideal ending for those propellers, but it's not the worst. So, oh, that's true, Crittenden. All right. Well, it is now 5:50, folks. So I am going to call this the end of the live stream because we're already running up on almost 2 hours. So you're welcome, Tiffany. Yeah, definitely take a look for the propeller. It's right there on the corner, like it's facing the main road. Yeah. Yeah, there's like a little flower bed there on the corner, but it's not the one that, the flower bed that usually is like the shape of a crown. That's on the other side, but it's, I'm trying to think of like how to say it. You get off the freeway, you pass the ticket booths for the parking, you keep going towards the parking structure. There's a little crisscross there, and you'll see it ahead of you on your left, on the other side of the street, and there's like a little flower bed, and it's just half buried in the flower bed. And so, yeah, it's there. All right, folks, thank you all for watching. Next tea time will be Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So I'll see you all then, and have a good day. Bye-bye.